Hello. Welcome back to the Love Your Body Now podcast. This is Savannah, your host, and it has been a minute since I have recorded and uploaded a podcast episode, and I thought that we were due for a little update of what has been happening in life recently and why I haven't been posting on the podcast. But I knew I needed to put up an episode because I still get emails and updates that people are listening and tuning into episodes every single week. So obviously, people are still listening to the podcast, even if it is like older episodes. And I haven't been on here in a while, but I have been still very active in my social media, my YouTube, and some other things. And I figured, you know what, I'm going to just release an episode that is updating you on everything that's been going on, how you can stay plugged in, how you can be a part of what we are doing now, what we're doing next with the brand, because, oh my gosh, things have changed since I have last uploaded an episode. So if you are just like tuning in for the first time, or maybe you've been a listener for a while, or since we've started the podcast, like I'm just grateful that you're here. I'm grateful that we've connected in this way. But it is time to update you on what has been happening in my life. So part of the reason why I haven't uploaded a podcast episode is not because I haven't been involved in my brand and like my business or anything like that. It just got to a point where I kind of like lost my, I guess, inspiration specifically for the podcast. Now, I didn't lose my inspiration in what I've been doing in the brand and business and life, but I kind of like lost that inspiration of, oh, here's what I want to put on the podcast this week. And part of that is just because I have started to really transition in the direction that I am taking the brand. It's still somewhat in alignment of how we got started with the brand. Obviously, Love Your Body Now. Like, I'm very big on that message and promoting that, but it has expanded a little bit deeper, actually a lot a bit deeper than just like talking about health and fitness, which is a lot of what we talked about on this podcast. We did talk a lot about body image and our relationship with our body, all of those things. So those are still part of what I am doing and creating right now, but it has expanded much bigger and much deeper. Now, to give you context, you may have known that I was living in San Antonio, Texas, at the time of most of these recordings, actually all of these recordings, but I can't even remember if I've talked about it on the podcast that we wanted to move back to Nebraska, which is where me and my husband are from. It was a long time that we were thinking about it. We weren't sure about it, but really I started to have the itch, I guess, to move back home early in 2024, like around March, April time. I was starting to think about it, and May was really around the time that I knew. And my husband had actually, I guess, like suggested the idea of moving back home, like back in, I don't know, like 2023, maybe like the summer of 2023, because we had both taken solo trips back home just to be with family. And he had come back and was kind of like, what are your thoughts on this? And at the time I was like, hell no, like I don't want to go back to Nebraska. I had gotten used to being out of state. I liked the weather. Well, to an extent, it's super, super hot in Texas, but I liked not having cold weather. And I liked my independence, I guess you could say. And I had completely shut down that idea, but we also knew we didn't want to stay in Texas. So that was, I think, part of why he suggested it. And we ended up deciding at the time that we were going to move back we were going to move to Colorado because it was a little bit closer to Nebraska, but it was something different, and we were excited about the idea of moving to Colorado. So that was our plan for a while. Like, we knew, okay, we're not going to stay in Texas, but let's try and move to Colorado, something different. I think we'll like it there, and we'll be a little bit closer to family than we are now. So maybe we can see them a little bit more often. And for me, 2024 was like all about healing, surrendering, going deep with myself. Like, I talked a lot about that, especially in the beginning of 2024. I talked so much about like where I was going with my life, like what I was focused on. And it was really all about rebuilding my relationship with myself, going deep with myself, focusing on healing, and not really worrying about the future, not really worrying about where's this business going? Like, what am I doing? What am I doing with my life? Because that was kind of where I was at from 2022 to end of 2023. I just felt like very stuck. I felt very lost and unsure of the direction I wanted to take my life. I knew I wanted to do something impactful and big and something of my own. I just had no idea what it looked like, what it was going to be. And 2024 was really me like pausing. Well, I kind of started it in 2023 of like taking a step back and just trying to figure out like, okay, what are we going to be doing here? And went back into like working 9-to-5 jobs and exploring that and trying to just really figure out clarity in my life. And then 2024 really became all about healing. So that is what really led up to me realizing that I wanted to come back home. And the big reason, or I guess like the situation that had happened that really gave me clarity in the decision, was my family, not like my immediate family, but like my mom, my sister, my grandma, my aunt. They all came down for a trip during spring break, and we all got like to hang out and be together and just like spend time together. And that was, again, like in the midst of me really going on my healing journey and rediscovering myself and reconnecting back to myself. And so when they visited, it felt like I had experienced like deeper connections with each of them in a way that I hadn't ever really experienced. And that really is the power of doing inner work and healing, is like the more you grow and expand your own capacity for yourself, like within yourself and your relationship with yourself, the deeper and bigger the capacity is to be able to hold that with relationships in your life. That was the first time I really experienced that when they came down. And then they left, and I ended up feeling like really, really sad when they left. It was like, oh my gosh, like I just like had this really amazing time while they were here and got to just have very valuable, deep connections with them while they were here. And it really started to get me thinking about it. And I did not tell Victor that I was thinking about it, my husband, because I knew that if I did tell him, then he would be like, okay, like we're doing this, like you can't change your mind. So I spent like, that was around March. I spent like a good 2 months, like really thinking about, okay, is this what I really want? Like just like allowing myself to sit with it for as long as I needed. And I ultimately came to the realization that as I was like going on this healing journey and starting to gain more clarity of like the brand and what I wanted to do, I ended up going to another like healing event because I shared about my experience at Galentine's, which was my first big healing event in February. I do have a podcast episode sharing my experience, and that was ultimately like the catapult of everything that changed for me. So if you didn't listen to that episode, go back and listen to that episode back in February of 2024. I shared my experience of this like inner healing empowerment event called Galentine's that completely catapulted and changed everything for me. So in May, I went to another event put on by the same person. She is Made for More. Crystal Jacobo is the founder, and I flew back to California for another event that she actually had me speak at. I was a panelist for that, and again, just like had another like really great experience. And that was the first time that I spoke with Crystal after the event and was like, you know what, like, I gained so much clarity from this event and just like the healing work that I've been doing. And here's what I've realized. God is calling me back home because I need to bring what I'm doing, what I've learned, and this healing, this work that I'm doing, I need to bring it back to my community. And that was the first time that I really admitted it and had the full circle realization that, okay, there's a reason that I've been kind of feeling this nudge to go back home. And at first I thought it had to do with family, and it did. Like, my values have completely shifted over the last year and a half, and family being like my number one priority, that really shifted. But it was much deeper. Like, it was almost like this calling from God of like, you're meant to come back home. It's time to come back to your home and to take everything that you've learned and take everything now that you've grown into and pour it back into this community, because it needs it. It needs you. And so it became very clear to me, like, okay, this is the next step. This is what we're doing. And so I had that conversation with Victor of like, I want to go back home. I want to move home. And so we made that decision together. Like, this is what we're doing. And we kind of just like played it by ear. We didn't know how it was going to look. We didn't know what was going to happen of like, how are we going to make this move back home? How is Victor going to find a job? Like, I worked from home, so it wasn't like I had to worry about finding a job or anything, but it really was like, what are the logistics of this going to look like? And of course, we felt very impatient for a good amount of the year, wanting to move back home, but not being able to yet. And we actually didn't even tell our family that we wanted to move back home until we came to visit in like, I think it was like July or August, somewhere along then, and told them in person, which was so amazing, so fun to see everyone's reactions of us, like this decision that, yes, we're moving back home, we're coming back. So we didn't really know how we were going to move back. We kind of made this decision of like, well, we're not going to rush moving back home until Victor finishes he had like a 2-year contract with his job. So, and that didn't end until 2025, like, I think maybe like March of 2025, somewhere along those lines. So we're kind of like, well, if something comes up to where we can relocate, like if he gets a job offer sooner than that and it makes sense, we'll move sooner, but otherwise, like, we'll wait until he finishes up his contract. And what ended up happening is he got laid off in November of 2024. And although on the outside, yes, that looks very, like, that's sad, that sucks, all those things, but like, we had actually prayed that he would get laid off, because the company that he worked for, we knew layoffs were coming, basically. They said layoffs are coming, this is the date, and we were kind of like hoping that he would get laid off so that that would allow for us to move during like the Christmas break period, because I, for my job, get like 2 weeks off for the Christmas break time. So we were like, that would be perfect. We wouldn't have to worry about Victor, like, you know, like taking off work or anything like that. Like, we could just move during that time period. So that worked out for us really well. Like, he got benefits from being laid off, so we didn't have to worry financially about what we were going to do until like end of January. Like, we could just sit back, focus on moving and doing all of that. So my dad and one of our good friends flew down in December and helped us load all of our stuff in a moving truck. And we made the road trip back to Nebraska in like, I don't know, it was like December 15th. So it was like right in the middle of December. So we made that trip and we moved back, and we actually moved in with my parents. So that was the other thing that we were pretty hung up on, of like, what are we going to do? Like, because the hometown that we're from, the places to rent are very limited. They just like don't have a lot of supply, I guess. And so everything's like kind of outrageously expensive. Even to buy houses here, it's a little bit ridiculous, as far as like the pricing goes compared to other places. Like, it's more expensive for us to buy a home here in Nebraska, in our hometown, versus where we bought our home in San Antonio, Texas. So it is a little outrageous in that sense. And my parents, like, both of our parents, basically told us, like, if we need a place to live for a while, like, we have a place. And it just made more sense for us to move in with my parents because of our animals that we have, and they live in Columbus. So that just made the most sense. So we moved in with my parents, and we're still here with my parents. It's honestly not as bad as like you would think it would be. Like, we have the basement to ourselves. It's, we have the privacy. Like, it really has been such a blessing to be able to transition our move and have this opportunity to like save and just like not stress about where are we going to live, all of these things. So it has worked out so perfectly. Like, we're so blessed to have family that is willing to help us out in that sense. Now, as far as like what has been happening with my brand, Love Your Body Now, I shared a little bit in the beginning that part of me wanting to come home, yes, is because my values have completely shifted, and I just really wanted to be around family again. But also part of that had a lot to do with me feeling this like mission or this calling on my heart to really pour back into the community where I'm from, build something so much bigger than, like, I know this is going to be huge, but like helping my community heal. I have really adopted the belief that if I have a desire on my heart, it is because there's people out there craving what I can give. And I believe that about everyone. Like, if you have a desire in your heart, an idea, a download that comes to you, I believe that you are the person to help people. Like, there's people out there who are craving that thing. They may not know it. They may not necessarily can specifically say it out loud, like, this is the thing that I need, that I want, but they're craving the thing that you can give, and only you. And I 100% believe that. And that has been my belief since we've been back. I'm like, okay, so as soon as we got back, like, I had so many ideas of what I wanted to do and start building in this community. And a lot of that is that I wanted to start creating in-person events, experiences, workshops for the community here, because I personally didn't feel like this, you don't see a lot of this here in these smaller towns. And me, like, coming from big cities like San Antonio, San Diego, like, I've been exposed to so many different events and experiences, retreats, communities. I've been exposed to all of that, and now I see like the value in it and what it can do for you in your own self-love journey, your growth journey, your healing journey. And that was really something that I was feeling called to create and bring back to my small hometown community. So, like, right when I got here, I was like, okay, the first thing I want to do is I want to do a vision board, like, party workshop. And the thing that I didn't, like, you know this, but at the same time, you don't really realize this, is I have so many connections in the community where I'm from. I know so many people. I grew up with these people. Like, I have so many connections here. Being that I grew up here, being that my family lives here, like, everybody knows everybody almost. And me coming back and wanting to create something big, I was able to lean into connections that I've had, either through Facebook or from growing up here. I went to school with this person, or like I played softball with this person, or these parents know me from playing sports. Like, and that was something that I didn't have in like San Antonio or San Diego. You really have to, you start from scratch when you move to these new places, which isn't a bad thing. Like, it's not like it can't be done, but I didn't realize, like, me moving back, it's not that it's easy, but it really does make a huge difference when you already have a network and connections and like this reputation where people already know who you are. They already somewhat trust you because they either knew you from like when you were younger, or they know your parents, or they know you from Facebook. So it really worked out well. Me just moving back and being like, all right, we're doing this. So I launched my first workshop and it sold out within days, which I didn't make it super big because I really wanted to like learn. I haven't really planned my own events. So I'm like, okay, like I want to take this a little bit slower because I don't know what to expect. I want to learn as I go, and I don't want to bite off more than I can chew, basically. So, but yeah, I put it out on Facebook. I shared it with my email list, and I think it pretty much sold out within the week that I had posted it. So that was really exciting. I hosted it at a local, like coffee and tea place that I went to high school with the girl that owns it. So like it worked out really well to collaborate, and the feedback that I got like was incredible. I will also say, like, me sharing that I was going to have this workshop, someone else had reached out to me and asked if I would put on the same workshop for their entrepreneurial group or community. So that's just like how easy it is to, when you have those connections already built in, how quickly that like I was able to get super involved with the community. And yeah, like the feedback was so beautiful, was so reassuring. I mean, people were already asking about the next one. Like, people who couldn't make it were like, when are you having it again? All of those things. But I've been sharing with people, like, I've really, at this point, I feel like I am co-creating with God, and I am really stepping into my soul's mission here on earth. And so I am very tuned into, like, what are we doing next? Like, a lot of people ask me, like, what's the next one? Like, what are you doing? Like, what's your plans? And like, I pretty much only have like a few steps ahead of me planned out. Of course, I have a vision of where I see this going, but as far as like all the little details, what we're going to be doing, I really am more in tune with what is my higher self guiding me to do, what is God guiding me to do, and I really tune in with that. And then when I get those downloads or those ideas, I execute. I go with it. I'm like, okay, that's what we're doing. So essentially, after this vision board workshop, I got the download to host like a women's empowerment healing event. So I wanted to give myself plenty of time to plan out, like, okay, how are we doing this? Because this was going to be a much bigger scale than like the little workshop that I did. So I gave myself to the last weekend of March. I think we were like maybe mid-January, and was like, okay, like I have till the end of March. I have plenty of time to figure out what we're going to be doing here, to sell tickets, all of these things. And honestly, like I sold it first to the women who came to the workshop. And I think like at least half of the women who attended the workshop bought a ticket to my event. Actually, I think it was more than half. I think there were only like a couple of women who didn't attend the actual event. And some of them, they just couldn't, like they had other things going on. Otherwise, I think that they would have attended. They said they wanted to attend, but they couldn't. They had other events or things that they had going on the same day. So that automatically sold to those women. And that was the thing too. I was just like, you know, I'm so in tune with what God's guiding me to do, like co-creating this thing with him, because I truly believe like this is a calling. Like this isn't even about me. And I shared that like in May, like that's when I had the realization, like this is what God's calling me to do. So whenever I get an idea about an event or a workshop or something that I want to put on, but I don't know if people are going to buy it or be a part of it, or like I don't know what the outcome is going to be, I have no doubt. I have no fear about it, because to me, I'm like, God gave me this idea for a reason. I believe that he gave me this idea for a reason, and he's going to let the outcome be what it needs to be to serve whoever it needs to be. Like, it has nothing to do with me. And that has really allowed me to release my ego's expectations of what has to happen or what has to unfold or how many tickets I need to sell. Like, I really am not attached to that whatsoever, because to me, it's like God is using me to serve this community, to serve these women, and to plant seeds for these women in their own growth and healing journey. And I'm just so in tune with that. I'm so surrendered to that, that if something doesn't, I guess, like go as planned or work out the way I thought it would, I know that it's going to serve me in whatever capacity it needs to. And I know it'll serve whoever it needs to serve. So when I was promoting the event for the March event called Women Who Heal, I was so unattached to like, if this doesn't sell out, like, I don't care. Like, I really don't care. Whoever buys the ticket, whoever's in that room, it's God. Like, it's God getting them in that room. And that's how I saw it. So it's like, I didn't even care if like all of the tickets didn't sell out, and they didn't. And what I realized was, at the event, it was the perfect amount of attendees there, because honestly, if it had been any more than that, it would have been too crowded. It would have felt like packed in that room. And I already know, like, okay, that was God. Like, yes, like my ego would have felt good to be able to say like, yes, we sold out, and we actually were pretty close to selling out, but like it worked out perfectly. Everything turned out perfect. And that has so much to do with my surrender and all of this, and my trust that this is bigger than me. And I will continue to believe in that. And so anyways, we had that event. At the event, we launched our first 6-month mentorship and retreat. Like, yes, like I'm telling you, like what we have created in the last freaking 3-4 months of this year already is insane. And that's the power of like being totally aligned with your soul's mission. It is so insane. We launched, I called it Back to You, Mind, Body, Soul Alignment. And it is a 6-month mentorship for these women who wanted to go deeper with themselves and focus on the inner work and the healing, to really not just have the awareness of their healing journey so far and having awareness around what's going on in their own head and their life, but to embody who they are trying to become. It's really about helping women close that gap of feeling stuck, but knowing they're meant for more, or like recognizing the things that aren't serving them anymore, but like not really knowing how to navigate and course correct their life to it feeling fully aligned. Because that was me a year ago. That was me about literally a year ago or a year and a half ago. I was in that season of like, I know I'm meant for more. I know I'm meant to impact. I know there's more to life, right? And that's exactly what I am being called to help women unlock in themselves now, is stepping into their ideal version of themselves, unlocking that version of themselves and embodying her, versus feeling like, I know she's within me and I want to be her, to fully like, you are her, right? And so we launched that, and we gave the option for you to join the Back to You mentorship, just the 6 months. or you can do the mentorship plus having a retreat at the end of the 6 months. And that basically, we're just going to say it right here, like it sold out. I kind of wasn't sure on the exact number I wanted, but I like the number that we have feels good. Like I don't think I would even want any more than the number that we have. I left it up for like one more person. If one more person was feeling called to join, I left it open. But it didn't, that last spot didn't sell, and I think it's for a reason, because like again, 10 just felt like a really good number. So that is it. I basically am saying it sold out. The mentorship, like we're starting it literally in 2 days. So Wednesday, today, right now is Monday, and I couldn't be like more excited. And here's the thing, like we're already planning our next in-person workshop. So right now, I just have started to promote this upcoming workshop happening in Columbus, where I'm at, and it is all around body image and healing our relationship with our body and really stepping into radical self-love. Because guess what? That's what the brand was really founded on. That's where my journey started. And I know, especially during this time of year, it can feel very triggering with our bodies, all of the messaging happening around this time of year. And I really wanted to create something for women to help them go deeper and feel like they can love themselves regardless of what's going on physically, what's going on outside of themselves. So I really felt called to create a space and a workshop for that. And that's the next thing that we're really focused on. So as far as if you've been here for a while, if you've been connected in my world for a while, or you're just now starting to tune into the podcast, I want to invite you to connect with me on social media. I actually have been creating YouTube videos that are a little bit more in depth than what I've shared on the podcast before, partially because like that's just how I have evolved. So I'm kind of like sharing things that I've learned along my journey, and it is much deeper, more in-depth concepts and understandings of how to fully embody your truest, most authentic self. So it isn't just about body image anymore. It isn't just about health anymore. It's much deeper than that. And so I've thought about putting the YouTube videos on my podcast, and, you know, maybe at some point I will. I've really been focused on following the things that excite me, the things that light me up, and that I get ideas or I feel called to do. And sometimes that just doesn't involve the podcast, and there's nothing wrong with that. That doesn't mean I'm never going to come back to the podcast. I actually have some episodes that I've recorded with guests back in like November, December time that I never ended up posting on the podcast, and I would still love to post them on the podcast. Because I feel like there was still a lot of value in the discussions. Just know that those could be popping in here at some point, because yes, I did record those, and I would still like to put those on the podcast. But yeah, that is where I'm at. So I really invite you to connect with me on social media. Follow our YouTube channel, even though I know if you prefer podcasts, like YouTube might not be ideal, but if you're still wanting to stay plugged into my world, my teachings, and where we're going, then I highly recommend that. You can follow me on Facebook as well, because all of our in-person events are posted on Facebook. If you're not on our email list and you want to stay in the know of what's going on, you need to be on the email list, because we also give like exclusive offers to the email list. Like for example, our workshop that we are launching, which we're going to be doing it in May. Our email list is getting not only first access to buy and reserve their spot, but they are getting the opportunity to buy a ticket that includes a free +1. They're going to have access to that link for 24 hours once we open the doors, and it'll only be for 24 hours only. But we're not giving that to the public. That is just for my email list, just to thank them for being on our email list and to being a part of our world. And a lot of them have attended our events, have bought from the clothing brand, have been involved in my world, and I want them to have that exclusivity because they are special. They have believed in the brand from the beginning. They're tuned into the brand. They want to be a part of it. And so I want to honor them for supporting the brand and being a part of this mission. So just know, like, if you're not on the email list and you want to get on the email list, I will leave a link in the description, so that way you can join. And it's not just about the in-person experiences. Of course, like, if you're in the local to Nebraska, Columbus, Nebraska area, you will be able to attend a lot of in-person stuff, but know that there is like much bigger things happening and coming, virtually, bigger events. So I really encourage you, like, if you want to stay in the know of that, potentially be a part of that in the future, make sure you're on our email list because that is how you will stay the most up to date. We also have a free Facebook group page that it's basically like, if you're on Facebook, even if you're not like actively on it all the time, like scrolling it, it's also another way to just get updated in case you do miss our emails. I know sometimes my emails will go to like spam or promotions folders. So that's just another way to stay plugged into, okay, like every time we have an update, like I share it on that Facebook group page. So I'll make sure to link that as well. And then, yeah, I highly recommend not only following our business page, which is We Are Love Your Body Now, but my personal page, which is right at this time. I think I might change it at some point, but right now it's at savvy_lee27. I'll link it in the show notes as well. But a lot of like my teachings and my practices, I have been posting on that page specifically. So definitely, like, if you want to learn more about what I'm teaching, a lot of it is videos of me speaking. So if you like listening to the podcast, if you like listening to my YouTube videos, then you're definitely going to like the reels and the TikToks that I've been sharing on concepts, teachings, practices, of everything that I really teach and, embody. So I will also link my YouTube channel. Like I said, at some point I may start sharing my YouTube videos to the podcast. It just, at this point, like right now, it's really easy for me to upload my video onto YouTube with very minimal effort, or like I don't do a lot of editing. So for me, it feels really easy. The thought of having to upload the YouTube video onto the podcast as well, it almost just like adds another like to do for me. So that's partially why I haven't made that extra step of putting it on the podcast. But who knows, like I may end up with some extra time on my hands here soon, and be able to upload that and, pour more into the podcast again. And maybe we'll even do a little bit of a rebrand because I feel like it's such a different person to what we used to share on the podcast. I mean, maybe you can even feel it or hear it in my voice. Like I'm a completely different person, and I'm just so lit up by life now and feel so aligned with what I'm meant to be doing and where I'm going that I want this feeling for everyone. And obviously with what I teach and what I practice and what I share, it really is about helping you get to that point in your life too. But I just have so much gratitude in where I'm at today, what I've had to go through in my own journey to get to where I'm at, and feel so lit up by life now. I'm just so grateful. And if you're listening to this, you're still listening to this, thank you so much. Like, I appreciate you so, so much, and I'm so grateful for you, and I'm here for you, and I cannot wait to stay connected with you and just help be a part of your journey in whatever capacity you need me. I'm eternally grateful. So thank you so much for tuning in. Like I said, I don't know when the next episode will be released. This podcast isn't going anywhere, but I figured we were due for an update here on what's been going on, what's happening. All of the links to stay connected, check out what we're up to, I will link in the show notes so that you can easily find it. And if you have any questions, feel free to DM me, email me, or if you have questions about anything, like I am here for you. So thank you so much and have a great day.